most, driving is just a mundane task between point A and point B. Nothing more. It's the frustration of traffic at 8 a.m., the feeling of sickness on a long ride. The car? Just a tool. It's supposed to be practical, reliable, and fast. But the speed is really the reason cars exist, born out of a necessity to make that A to B trip just a little bit faster. Some have a deeper connection with cars, found somewhere in the bond of man and machine, a desire to be part of something bigger than yourself. It's the extension of mind and body to something more exciting than just another appliance. And these people never cared about practicality or reliability. To them, the only thing that matters is speed. We're born with a competitive nature, part of a biological necessity that has not yet worn off with time. People have raced for thousands of years, and that competition has transcended history and found its way to the industrial age. Railroads raced to build across the country, replacing the horses whose strength is still used as a benchmark for power today. And as personal vehicles became popular, the railroads died off. What once was the quickest way across the country became snail's pace in comparison. The interstate highway system expanded and cars populated every driveway. And the competition between types of transport quickly transitioned into the race to have the fastest car. Bragging rights. Manufacturers like Porsche, Ferrari, and BMW emerged in auto racing, each trying to one-up the other. Building engines became an arms race. Who could build the fastest dinosaur-powered magazine? So while the passion for cars has died for most, there are still people that are fascinated by racing. The sights, the sounds, the smell of burning rubber and spent race fuel lingering in the air, this is what attracts us to the sport of auto racing. We are empowered by drivers that climb in impossibly fast cars and put everything on the line for the sake of competition. Drivers who know that one slip-up can lead to disaster. And for the longest time, wishing to be a race car driver was just a childhood dream. All we could ever be was a spectator. Opportunities? Limited and expensive. Reserved only for the who's who of the racing world. Until now.
In the 2019 Outsider Racing League Chase, nothing is certain. Last week at Talladega, we had the twists. Alek Martinez and other front-running chase drivers got caught up in collisions. But this week, we have the turns. At the foot of Seneca Lake in the Finger Lakes region of New York lies a legendary racing circuit which has seen the best drivers in history thread their machines between the familiar powder blue Armco walls. There are 70 years of racing history at this place, and though the gorge for which the nearby town is named has cut away the rock and exposed history, the racetrack here sits on top of the rock and continues to write history. Tonight, for round 2 of 6 in the Outsider Racing League Chase, we tackle the historic 7-turn Watkins Glen International. Welcome to Sim TV. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney and Dacuna tonight for a little bit of a home track night here in Watkins Glen, New York, a racetrack that is very near and dear to my heart. And Finney, and tonight we take on our second round of the chase after a wild week at Talladega last week, where Caleb Weekly ran his first race and got his first win. Kind of a one-hit wonder, though. He's not here this week. Back to our normal programming with everyone else, but Finney, and tonight, a little bit of uncertainty as well as we continue our chase program.
Yeah, indeed, some uncertainty, especially up to the S. A lot of drivers reporting problems in practice when they're going up at the top of the hill. The new tire model causing a lot of mayhem for these drivers, so it's going to be slippy and slidey, even though it's pretty much overcast conditions and as cool as can be with the high downforce setup. These guys still having trouble.
Let's take a look at our track map for tonight's event. Of course, 7 turns around Watkins Glen International. This layout is the Cup layout, the short course, 2.45 miles in a long stretch on the front straightaway, about 1,000 feet long, takes you up over the crest of the hill down into turn number 1, affectionately known as the 90, Finney. And you're going to go from 4th gear down to 2nd for this turn, then down into turn 2, which is one of the lowest points on the racetrack before a 110-foot climb up through the S's in turns 2, 3, and 4. Down the long back straightaway, another about 1,500, 1,600 foot straightaway leads us into the bus stop inner loop chicane. That's a right, left, left, right combination leading into turn 5, known as the carousel. A downhill right-hander, 2nd gear through here, but careful on the track out, though. There's not a whole lot of curbing out there to save you in this version of the track. Then another straightaway down to turn 6, a short shoot over to turn 7, which will turn you right back onto the front straightaway. Takes you about a minute and 10 seconds to get around this joint. A high speed, it's the super speedway of road courses, about 115 to 120 mile an hour average speeds around here, and the weather is always a concern. Tonight, Finian, it's not that cool out, it's also not that hot. So what do drivers have to watch out for tonight to keep their cars on track?
Yeah, again, I think really the best thing these guys need to do is make sure that they're not over-driving the car. Yes, you have a lot of downforce and the track's really cool, but obviously, again, struggling with the tires in general. So you're going to really have to make sure you take care of them, because especially with this new tire model, you can definitely abuse them to the point where you're slipping and sliding around, might even get a flat spot if you abuse it too much. So you got to be careful on your tires, and we have the stage caution coming out on lap 15, so that'll be a good indicator for a lot of these drivers of how hard they are actually driving.
Qualifying underway right now. You're looking at Angelo Hronis in the number 29 as he heads down into turn number 6. And Angelo's was sitting 5th in the point standings heading into this week, Finney. And so this 29 car hasn't seen victory lane yet this week, but we know he's talented. And so what are his chances to get a victory here tonight? Maybe not a road course ace like Yusuf Ghali and Jeff Wright, who we'll talk about here in a moment, but potentially a good finish for Hronis tonight, although his first lap wasn't too great. That was a 1:11.902. We'll see if he can improve on the second lap.
Yeah, imagine second lap probably a little bit faster when he has a little bit more heat in these tires. I hope that he's going to get a faster lap in, although he's going to be starting midfield, if not towards the back.
So we also mentioned Jeff Wright. We've visited 2 road courses so far this season, one in Silverstone in the UK, the other in Sonoma, California, only a couple races ago, and Jeff Wright was the winner of both of those. He's waiting, I believe, to lay down his times. I don't think we've seen him lay down. He has. Only 9th quick for the 48.
Yeah, that's what I was struggling to find him as well. The time she's didn't expect him to be down in 9th. Which is surprising because in practice he was up in 4th, and again, has won the 2 other races that we had this season, the 2 road course races that we had this season at Sonoma, and also I forgot the other
Silverstone. So yeah, we were just mentioning that. So it's kind of a shock to me that he's only 9th best, and take a look at Yusuf Ghali, who's been amazingly fast in practice so far. I'm more concerned about the 12 car tonight than the 48 if I'm anybody else up there. Another driver that surprised me, Brandon Bowers, sitting 2nd quick right now, the 1:10.089. It's 3/10 off Ghali, but this is a really good qualifying effort for the 31, and his qualifying as of late has been really good. Remember back to Richmond only a couple weeks ago, he's been getting really solid at starting up front. It's just about finishing up there as well.
Yeah, and he would have pretty much finished up there in front had he not gotten some damage, I think, with another driver. Couldn't really remember off the top of my head who it was, but that really put him far back. But it was pretty much a race-winning contending car. And here he is again at Watkins Glen, so he's improved a lot. But I want to go back to Yusuf Ghali because the numbers he's been putting up recently as far as finishes, it's pretty much, it looks like Alek Martinez's sheet. Other than Pocono, he's finished 5th, 1st, 3rd, 1st, and 2nd. In the last few races, again, excluding Pocono, which he finished 21st after crashing out. But he's done phenomenal the last few weeks, and again, he's set to qualify on pole here I think with 20 seconds remaining, I don't really think anyone's going to beat him. And he's been the only driver able to put a time below 1 minute 10.
Wow, so yeah, Yusuf Ghali and his road course skills, I think, are going to come in handy today. He's been pretty solid at Sonoma in recent weeks as well. Another driver we got to keep an eye out for is the driver that was chasing the 48 at Sonoma. That was Martin Sproul. He qualified third tonight. That's a good place to be, starting on the inside of the second row. So qualifying is complete here at Watkins Glen. We've had 14 drivers lay down times. There are 23 drivers here. We'll see how many take the green flag this evening. This is not a long race. This will be about 46 minutes if we go green from start to finish, but we will not fit in because we have a stage at lap number 15. How does that change the strategy in this race, or does it change it at all?
Yeah, the only thing that's going to be a lot is also, again, it lets these drivers take a chance to see, again, how far they're pushing these tires. They're going to definitely be checking that. I forgot which tab it is exactly, but what pulls up the tire percentages to see how far they're pushing on their tires, if they are pushing too much. And I think, again, and I was talking about how Yusuf Ghali's been able to put time down, only driver to put down time down in 1 minute 10. The problem is he's going to have to be able to do that consistently and also without forcing his tires past their breaking point. So that's going to be another key thing too, is being fast but also being consistent, as well as not pushing your equipment too much.
This race is 40 laps. It's 96.9 miles here at Watkins Glen International. Again, we're going to have a stage caution at lap number 15. We also want to wish our friend William Troy condolences. His mother has passed away the last couple days here, so he's going to be stepping out of the race tonight, watching from home. So William, wishing you the best. Hopefully you can enjoy this race and get your mind off things for a little bit. But other drivers want to talk about, Finney. Take a look at the point standings. This is basically, this is how the points are looking right now. But take a look at who's at the top right now. Zach Halpern and Tim Downey Jr. Both Downey Enterprises cars, first and second. It didn't look very good the first half of the race at Talladega. They really weren't running all that well, but they avoided all the carnage and came home with solid results. And especially Zach Halpern. I think that 26 car could be the driver to watch for the championship this season, so I keep my eye out on the 26 car tonight especially.
Yeah, and again, the funny thing, is too, this team didn't even exist at the beginning of the season. Both of these drivers decided to form up a few races in, and ever since then they've been on absolute fire, and especially, obviously, we're only one round into this chase, but they're still doing pretty well with Tim Downey Jr. Up qualifying in 5th. Not sure where Zach Halpern is, but he's also, again, done really well. He's actually going to be starting in the back of 18. After not putting qualifying time down, but you expect to see him up in the front. So again, keeping an eye on those two drivers, they might be a serious threat for the championship here.
Let's roll through our starting lineup here tonight. On the front row this evening, Yusuf Ghali, the number 12 Toyota Camry driver from Texas. Brandon Bowers in the 31 Ford Mustang starts on the outside of that first row.
And then moving on back to row number 2, we got Martin Sproul in the 19, looking for a win here tonight, as well as the 18 to his outside in 4th, Alek Martinez.
In row number 3, Tim Downey Jr. in the number 25, the Floridian rolls off P5. Bryce Calusa in the 82 rolls off in 6th on the outside of row number 3.
And moving on back to row number 4, we got AJ Stravato lining up in the 33 and 7th place, and outside of him in 8th place is the 36 at Joshua Banks.
In 9th place, road course ace Jeff Wright. We've gone to 2 road courses so far this season. He's won at both of them. Can he make it 3 for 3 tonight? He rolls off 9th alongside Adam Cabot in the 77 and 10th.
Then moving on back to 11th place, we got Angelo Hronis lining up in the 29 on the inside, and outside of him, Clifton Cockrell will be in the 16 car.
Bailey Turner in the number 24, always a threat at any racetrack. The Californian rolls off 13th. Elliot Butler in his number 6, going to be 14th tonight.
Back in 15th, we got the 70 and Matt White lining up on the inside, and outside of him in the 14 car will be Bruce Boyer in 16th.
In 17th place, it'll be Matt White in the number 70 car. Chris Garrett in the 57, making another late season return. He'll roll off 18th tonight.
Yeah, we'll let the rest of that roll across the bottom of the grid. I want to point out a lot of EOLs for some drivers tonight. Jeremy Miller, Jeff Wright, Bailey Turner have been sent to the back of the field.
All right, so lap number 1, the goal is to survive. Again, your chase drivers are lit up with the gold banner at the top of the windshield. They'll be lit up in gold on the ticker on the left-hand side of the screen once we get rolling. 40 laps tonight from Watkins Glen International. Again, lap number 1, survive. Keep yourself out of the Blue Armco, the S's especially. Everyone's going to be tiptoeing on cold tires trying to get these things warmed up and ready to go racing. Yusuf Ghali in the number 12 Camry going to lead us down to the green flag as the pace car peels off. And waiting. Green flag flies, and we're racing at the Glen. Up at the top of the S is side by side. It was Adam Cabot out of line. Angelo Hronis slipping on by in the number 29. We head down to the interloop for the first time.
Downey Jr. wrecking in the back
Oh!
on the straightaway, and he's going to collect Adam Cabot as well. Actually, Cabot avoids it. But Tim Downey Jr. wiped out immediately after the first few corners.
Yeah, there's some big damage on the right front of that car as well. So early trouble for one of our championship contenders. That's a lot of damage, Finian. So that car is going to need some repair, but we stay green. At the front of the field, it's Yusuf Ghali who pulls away in his number 12. But Brandon Bowers and Alek Martinez, second and third right now. Sprouse sits fourth.
Yeah, these guys got single file out immediately as they start to now try to build up on one another. Passing going to be pretty hard tonight with the amount of downforce. A lot of dirty air these drivers have got to face.
Yeah, I'm going to go back quickly and take a look at what happened to the 25. Was coming up over the top of the crest here behind the 82 of Bryce Calusa, and he's probably just going to step out right behind the 82, lost the nose, and slammed the Armco barrier on the right, and Adam Cabot just squeaked on through there. So just a single car incident for the 25, but not the start that he wanted to have tonight.
Yeah, it's really not what I needed, again, especially after a really good finish at Talladega. This is his chance to build upon that. Unfortunately, this is going to hurt him, so now I think for him it's just going to be damage mitigation. Try to get to that stage caution, and then you have a chance to fix your car.
Into the bus stop now for the second time. Ghali leads the way. It was Banks side by side with Stravato up through the S's, and Hronis closing in from behind as they work their way through up and over the curbs here. A bit clumsy in the early going as drivers are still working their grip levels up in those tires.
Speaking of Hronis, up from 11th place up to 8th place, and hunting for Morris, he's got a few guys ahead of him.
Also going to point out a couple spots behind him is the 16 car, Clifton Cockrell, and he's also had some luck on the road courses in the past, but a fairly slow start tonight in his number 16. Started 12th up to 10th, so 2 spots forward, but I would expect him to be solidly inside the top 10 by the end of this race, if not a top 5.
He's pretty much already there's.
Whoa, Bowers out of control. Turn 1, the second place car around and into the tire barrier. So he's going to have to sit and wait to get back on the racetrack in the runoff area of turn 1, but he locked up the brakes or something getting down into turn 1. Here's another look. Just got in a little bit hot, Finian, and just overdrove, and I think maybe cold tires potentially.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely cold tires. It looked like he threw the car in there expecting it to grip up a lot more, but again, he started to need a little bit more laps to warm up, and unfortunately the grip just wasn't there.
And in the past, turn 1 really hasn't been a trouble spot in these cars, but with the new tire model released a couple weeks ago on this race car, it's made the cars a lot scarier in the places that you would expect. In the real world, turn 1 is one of the trickiest corners on the racetrack, and that difficulty level has never really been experienced properly in the simulator. So that is one of the things that's interesting to see, is how little grip these drivers have in turn 1 with all that lateral load on the tire and not enough heat to make those things stick just yet. Martin Sprouse up to third, and take a look at Alek Martinez for second.
Yeah, he's gonna have a look up the inside into turn 1 here. We saw how squirrely it was for Bowers, and it's squirrely for Martinez.
Martinez is going to run a little bit wide at the exit of turn 1. We saw the brake rotors glowing on that 18 already. Is that a problem this early in the race?
I think it might be. That's meaning that you're really slamming on these brakes hard, potentially locking up, and that's the last thing you want to do, is lock up on this new tire model.
Yeah, Bryce Calusa on the 82 started in 6th. He's up to 4th now and hounding Alek Martinez for that 3rd spot. So the 82 car off to a good start as he jumps the curbs in the interloop. 25 to Tim Downey Jr. after his turn 1 incident is still rolling. He's also up to 17th. There's some damage on that car that he'll likely have to fix, but in about 10 laps we'll have a caution where he'll have time to come down and make repairs to that race car. So that's a saving grace for the 25 this early. Chris Garrett out of line in the carousel. Going to let Jeff Wright on by. And are we surprised at all by the lack of pace in the 48 here, Finn? And he's started in 9th, back to 15th. Is there trouble for the 48?
I don't know. He might honestly just be taking this first run a little easy, because again, we're going to have a caution in about 10 laps time. So I think you just being patient until that caution comes out, because this is not really much of a reason to push.
Bailey Turner going to let him on by on the front straightaway and pull back in line in front of Chris Garrett in the 57. Up front, no changes. Yusuf Ghali all on his own right now. He just only ran a 10th off his best time, a 1:11.105, as he works his way down into the interloop again. Martin Sprouse up to 2nd place. and ran almost identical times to the 12 last time by. So I don't think this is a cut and dry Gali victory. Still a lot of drivers in this race that could take that 12 car down.
Yeah, and one guy I'm definitely keeping my eye on is Zach Halpern. He's moved up from 18th to 12th already and still climbing up the order.
I have him started as 22nd, so I guess he probably started up a little bit higher than that since some drivers didn't start the race. So, but yeah, so up to 12th. This is a good start for the 26. And kind of in the no man's land right now. Brandon Bowers in 11th after his slip in turn number 1, but that's a learning thing for Bowers. He figured out how he got himself into that situation, and it'll be easy to prevent that from happening again, especially on the restart when everyone's driving super hard. Elliot Butler in the 6th. He's being hounded by Adam Cabot in the 77 down into turn 1.
Yeah, and Butler just got past 2 corners early, so Cabot trying to get that spot back. He also got some quite a bit of damage to the left rear of that car. Not sure where he got that from. But someone's gotten to the back end of that 77. We saw him avoid that incident with Tim Downey Jr. in the first few corners.
Yeah, it could be car-to-car contact. I could also see that potentially happening in the final corner, maybe slipping out a little bit wide and clipping the tire wall at the corner exit. That's a place where we see that kind of happen all the time. So potentially car-to-car, potentially car-to-track contact for the 77. Let's jump back up to the lead, though, because Yusuf Gali is getting run down, but look for third. Here comes Bryce Calusa to the inside of the 18.
Yeah, 18 hard on the brake, going to outbrake the 82, and he's going to fall back in line as they go.
And Calusa hounding this 18, smells blood in the water with, I wouldn't say Alex struggling right now, but he always never seems to have the confidence coming into these road course races. Let's ride on board the right front suspension as we head into turn 1. Yeah, brakes going red hot, putting a lot of stress on this car early in the going, just trying to get everything he can out of it. I think Alex really good at the road course racing, Finian, but he has to drive so hard to be able to do the same laps as Gali or Jeff Wright can do without driving quite so hard.
Yeah, that's the problem again when you put yourself on. I think that was a good strategy on the old tire. I think with this is kind of a new piece now that these guys have to deal with. And we're going to keep bringing up the tire model because it's a really drastic change on how you drive these things. And especially for Martinez, who's known to drive the cars really hard, he's going to have to back off just a little bit. Otherwise, he's going to find himself in some trouble.
Throttling back up onto the back straight, see Calusa just dip the tires in the grass for a moment, kind of killing that momentum just a little bit. Last time by, Martin Sprout just ran his best lap of 1:10.897. That's also the quickest lap that we've seen in the race by anybody so far. Average speed of 123.052 miles an hour. He's chopped that lead down to 1.7 seconds. Now we're about halfway to that stage break, a little bit past it. So this 19 car, this could be the night that he finally gets his first victory at a road course here in this series.
Yeah, I'm curious if he's going to even bother to try to get past the 12 of Yusuf Gali. I'm curious if he's just might sit in behind in second until the caution comes down. I really don't see much of a point in passing him.
And it also kind of gives you some options, too. When you're following the other driver, it's a good learning experience. If he could just sit behind Yusuf for a couple laps and maybe not put pressure, that's something that he could learn from the 12 from. Yusuf's been really composed and calm so far in this race car, hasn't made any mistakes yet, so he's a good role model to follow at this racetrack. Looking on back to our third place battle again, Martinez has put some distance on Calusa in the 82. That battle has subsided for now. Elliot Butler, Clifton Cockrell a little bit sideways in the bus stop as well.
Ooh, one driver that's sideways and into the wall is Chris Garrett. Oh, he just got hit by Tim Downey Jr.
Oh man, bad luck continues for the 25 for Chris Garrett. He stops at the top of the S's and we'll head back to the pit lane area. And this all started in the left-hand, or maybe, he got the curb on the right in turn 4. Impact on the left and comes back across the racetrack and tags Tim Downey Jr. in the door. And I have to imagine that's going to be a significant performance penalty for the 25. Oh, that was a hard hit.
Funny thing, I'm actually looking at his car. It looks like it didn't even get a lot of damage from it, so he might have gotten lucky.
Yeah, well, here's a look in slow motion. He just got on the curb, and at that speed, you're carrying about 150 to 160 miles an hour, then back to the left-hand side and clobbers the Armco, and then across the racetrack. And this is where you're right, Finian. I would have expected the 25 to get more damage, but it looks like they might have gotten away with that. So it looks like at least the 25 car will continue. Cabot hounding the back of Butler here into the bus stop.
he's on the attack and on the move, but I don't think close enough to really make a strike. Although Butler got a horrible line through the exit of the bus stop, and here comes Cabot.
And look at how neatly and tidily the 77 sits against the inside of the curb and the carousel. That's a really good line. And that's a corner it's pretty fun to drive because you can...
Alek Martinez is off in the grass, and Bryce Calusa is going to get him. Sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, I was just going to say that the carousel, you could take it a bunch of different ways, but let's go back and see what happened to the 18 who was running in third at the time. Here's a look. Got in a little bit hot, Finney, just couldn't get slowed down. Could be experiencing some brake fade or some tire fade at this point, and just runs off the track and gets back on. Only one spot lost for the 18. Butler off the edge of the curb in turn 1 as well, and he's got... This is a great battle between these two. These guys are matched so evenly as they climb the hill.
Yeah, and Cabot being careful up to the hill. He's barely on the gas in behind the 6, and Butler looking... Looks like something's broken in that car.
You know, I was watching Cabot, his gear selection up through the S's. Typically, you stay in third until the crest of the hill, then you jump into fourth. But Cabot was short shifting just to try to keep those tires from spinning and keep these cars in really at a lower RPM to keep those wheels from spinning. So this is the 750 horsepower package. They've got a lot more downforce, so the corner speeds are higher. But this is as much power as they've had since 2014. So there's a lot of wheel spin to be dealt with here, especially at the top of the hill when the car gets light. Oh, Butler off in turn 6.
Yep. Whoa, and he almost came back into the 77, but gets on back. Cabot will go on by and take 8th place.
He caught it, but he'll lose that spot. Calusa and Martinez back together again. And Sproul's chase on Yusuf Ghali has subsided as a 2.3 second gap back to the lead now, so no challenge for the lead at the moment. 5 laps until our stage break at lap 15. There's the 30 of Jeremy Miller, and this is a big deal. You see the damage on the nose of that car. We didn't see where he got that from, but last week he didn't make it into Talladega because of some internet problems, and he walked in the point standings with a chance to win the championship, and this is just not going very well at all. I think, you know, Talladega was an opportunity for him. He wasn't able to show his talent there, and early at Watkins Glen here this week, some trouble for him as we got the third place battle again going on. Martinez takes a look to the inside of Calusa, but can't quite complete the pass.
Yeah, we'll see if he has another look here. Might try to get him back here down to turn 1. He's going to set up a run down on the front straight. Ooh, the back end's going to kick out. He's really trying to get on the gas, and here he comes with a run.
In the braking zone for turn 1. This is a tricky corner to complete a pass in. Martinez is deep on the brakes. Can he make the pass stick? He's going to push up the racetrack. The 82 jumps over the edge of the curb and back side by side up to the S's here. Who's going to give?
Calusa is going to give up for now. Fall back into 4th.
Martinez takes 3rd place back. Still bobbling that car quite a bit, though. Struggling to keep the wheels aligned. So 12 laps into this 40-lap race so far, and I'd say this race is, between drivers, is a lot closer than we've seen it in the past. This series has visited Watkins Glen each of the seasons that they've run here on SimTV, and this has been one of the closer ones so far in terms of inter-car battles. Usually the field gets super spread out even between each person. So Martinez and Calusa still fighting, Cabot and Butler still fighting, Halpern and Wright for 12th still fighting, and Jeff Wright, I'm concerned about this 48 Finian.
Yeah, and actually I was just going to say, he's been trying to get past Halpern for the last, I think, 5 laps or so. He's been stuck in behind him and has not been able to find a way on by.
I mean, maybe this isn't his kind of road course, because again, the road courses that he did well at before at Silverstone and Sonoma, those are finesse tracks. They require technical skills. Watkins Glen is much more of a brute force track. You just have to drive the wheels off your race car. I'm not sure that this track suits Jeff Wright as well as the other road courses do, but I still would have expected him to run better. Here he comes, though, hitting pit lane early. I like this call. And Yusuf Ghali, our leader, has done the same.
Yeah, these guys trying to take advantage of coming in before. Because this makes sense, especially for Yusuf Ghali, because he doesn't need points.
No, Yusuf Ghali, again, he's just going for race wins at this point. No points to worry about. Missed the chase, caught up by only a couple points after 2 wins and only a couple more races. So Yusuf's got it going on right now, just not competing for a championship. So he can take these risks. Bailey Turner, I believe, has... oh, he's back. Just an internet flash there. So Martin Sproul has taken over the lead. Do you think anyone will wait till the end of the stage, or do you think they're going to all come in before the stage break?
I think some guys might try to just run out to the stage to have the lead, maybe collect a point or two, and go on. I think we might see some of the chase drivers definitely do that. I think for the guys just out there trying to get the win, guys like Calusa, I think I would be surprised if they didn't come in.
Martinez had a big slide off turn number 7, took it all the way down to the pit wall to catch it, but got back under control of that car. You see the brakes still glowing red hot inside the wheel wells of the 18. Again, that Grid Life paint scheme is based off the 2019 Grid Life South poster. As he climbs the hill, this is a new paint scheme that he'll be running for the remainder of the Outsider Racing League Chase. Bryce Calusa, super impressive so far, Finian. Again, it's taken him a little while to get the consistency in his finishes, but I really like the speed that he has, and he's shown quite a bit of talent at these road courses specifically.
Yeah, we'll see if he can give it up. I mean, this top 4, pretty much, I feel like our winner is going to come, or what was our top 4 before Golly came down to the pits. I think our winner is going to come from this group.
Checking on back with some other drivers that we haven't talked about a whole lot yet tonight. Bruce Boyer in the 14, and Tim Downey Jr. in the 25. We mentioned Tim's trouble so far, but Bruce Boyer been really quiet so far tonight. Hasn't made a misstep, just kind of hanging out right now. Started 19th up to 13th, and a good solid finish is all Bruce needs to have a good night here.
Jeff Wright ran a 1:42 the last lap. I'm not sure what.
He came into pit lane, so that's probably his out lap, or his in lap rather. Caution, there's the stage break as the front couple drivers have come across the start-finish line, and our first caution of the night is out at lap number 15. So almost to halfway here, Finian. So the call is almost universally going to be 4 tires and fuel. But is there a case for trying something different?
I think there might be. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted because I'm looking at Jeff Wright. He just like he's coasting, and you were talking about how he did indeed come down to pit road. That's why his times are like that. And I think he's trying to save enough gas because I think he doesn't want to pit again.
Well, you think back to Sonoma and how close that race ended up being between him and Martin Sproul. What was the deciding factor? It was fuel. The 48 had to save a whole lot coming to the last few laps of the race, and thinking ahead early. I would think that they would have been good to the end with a lap 15 stop, but he came in lap 13, Finian. So, again, these cars typically can go almost 30 laps on a tank of fuel, so I wouldn't see. What are we limited to in this series? Is it like 85% or something?
I think it's 80%.
Yeah, it would make sense to me that he'd be saving fuel just to be a little bit cautious.
Yeah. Because I heard him, too, right before that caution came out, he was coasting at 80% fuel.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, fuel here is entirely dependent on how much you're shifting, where you're shifting, and we've seen a lot of drivers short shifting just to keep their tires under control. So I would think that you're already using less fuel than you would have anticipated.
Matt White is giving a shift to use of Golly. This is what you call it, stream fuel saving.
I guess so, working together. I believe that those two are actually kind of hanging out.
They are.
So those two communicating. Again, White not driving for the number 12's team. So
the funny thing is that both of them are in our Discord.
Yeah, well, Sim Motorsports Discord. Yeah, so also no announcements to be made yet, but for the 2020 Outsider Racing League season, Alek Martinez will not be returning to Outsider Racing League because they're instilling their iRating cap again, and it's going to kick out the youngster after he's been so successful. It's kind of going the way of Connor Horn in the past, so Alek will be leaving Sim Motorsports, who will be replaced by a yet-to-be-named driver, along with one other new driver to the Sim Motorsports crew. But I can tell you one thing, is that there's going to be a talented lineup next season for sure. Golly cutting the inner loop as well. That's
yeah, Jeff Wright did the same thing.
That's taking it to the extreme, but you might as well, right?
I mean, might as well. They're not going to black flag you under caution.
No.
I don't think they will.
Well, you have time to slow down and give up the time you gained. So, all right, pit lane should be open this time through. Let's see who takes it. How much? Well, you would be a fool not to come down to pit lane. I think the question is, what will you do? So, whole field's going to come on down and get tires and fuel.
Yeah, I was going to say, considering how much of a concern the guys who came in a few laps earlier. I imagine everyone's just going to take 4 tires and fuel.
And it's a busy place here on pit lane. One thing to worry about here, Finian, is leaving pit lane. Do not get a speeding penalty because the pit lane here is downhill. So if you are just holding a constant throttle, you are going to speed at the end. Sproul a little bit of trouble getting into his box.
Yep, and I did the exact same thing. I did something like that and similar in a race I was in. And I was really annoyed because I forgot that it was downhill.
Ooh, Alek Martinez, a great stop for him. He'll roll off and lead the field off of pit lane, I believe. I don't think anyone will speed him out other than Bruce Boyer, who did not come to a stop. Martin Sproul lost a bunch of spots with his mistake in pit lane. He's going to roll out in 9th place.
Yeah, it's tough, especially after leading the field on down. And it's those little things that'll cost you. And in this case, it cost him a lot.
And now he's going to be behind Jeff Wright and Yusuf Ghali, the drivers that he was trying to beat. So some trouble for the 19 on that pit stop sequence.
Yeah, so Yusuf Ghali and Jeff Wright, the only drivers to come in before the caution.
Let's see if we can talk to Martin Sproul real quick, if we could get him up here in the booth.
Find him first. Give me a second. There he is.
Hey, Martin, it's Kyle from the SimTV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Hey, well, so far so good for you in that number 19. It's been a pretty solid start. Whoa. Something just happened behind you. I think Elliot Butler just... We're going to check on that in a minute. Just got rear-ended, though, so that's not great. But you led 5 laps. So you have pretty good pace in that race car. How do you feel about the rest of this thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Yusuf has the car to beat. I don't have anything for him. And that pit stop really, really sucked.
The conditions out here look a little bit challenging. Where's the trickiest place on this racetrack right now?
Through the S's for sure. It's just like, it's like on ice. It's really hard to get through there fast.
All right, Mark, we're going to let you get back to work. Hopefully you can assess that damage. And we'll talk to you later. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we're going to go back and take a look here, Finian. He got hit pretty hard. I'm trying
I was looking at it. It looked like Elliot Butler was just coming up through the bus stop, and the field was slowing down at the exit. He wasn't aware of that and ended up was trying to slow down in time, clip the 19 in the left rear.
Oh, that was a bad mistake there. I know that 19 checked up a little bit, but that's not a mistake that you'd expect to see Elliot Butler make, especially after last week at Talladega, where there was a lot going on last week that really wasn't thrilling to watch. I know Joshua Banks made a big mistake last week as well, but that's a pretty silly one. And running the back of people under caution. I'm sure the 19's not thrilled about that either.
Yeah, no, he isn't. Had a pretty much pristine car before that happened, and he kept the car clean all race up until this point, and then under caution gets hit. So he's probably not going to be too happy with that. We'll see if that damage affects him.
All right, we're coming back to the green flag here in just a moment. I want to go back to the track map for just a second because we saw early in the race the 31 of Brennan Bowers crash down in turn number 1. Take a look at the track map again. This 90-degree corner, it doesn't look like it's that difficult here, Finian, but the challenge that it brings is that it's the end of a long straightaway and you're heading downhill into the 90.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? It means that you got all the weight on the front of the race car. It means that you don't have a whole lot of weight on the back. It means your rear brakes might lock up. When you have rear brakes lock up, that gives you what's called wheel hop. And I think that's going to be a challenge getting restarted here without inducing that wheel hop, because the only way to get out of wheel hop is to either throttle back up or crash.
Yeah, and you combine the fact, too, with these guys dealing with cold tires, as we saw with Bowers in the 31. So you just combine that with everything else. That makes that corner a lot more tricky because you're going in there at a pretty high rate of speed, hoping that you're going to count on the tires to make you through. And if they're not at the temperature, you're going to go sliding, as we saw with the 31.
Exit of the carousel here onto the back straightaway yet again, heading down towards turn number 6. One of the few left-handers on this racetrack. We saw Alek Martinez struggling with it earlier, and it's kind of a little bit off camber. You don't have as much banking as you have in some of the other corners, so you set the car up for mostly right-handers, and you have one left that's really going to challenge you, and that's what we've seen so far tonight for a few drivers. See Tim Downey Jr. coming back up to the rear of the field here, up in 17th. He might have been able to fix a little bit of that race car. At least it's driving straight, so he'll catch back up as we come back to the restart. Yusuf Ghali in command of this race right alongside Jeff Wright. Ghali has led so far 12 of our 18 laps. 2 of our road course heavy hitters on the front row for the restart, working lap number 19 when we come on back. Green flag back in the air here at Watkins Glen. Whoa, crash, Hronis. Inside of turn 2, he's slow. He's going to keep it straight. We'll continue, but Angelo Hronis going all the way to the back of the field as we crest the hill on the S's side by side. That's Elliot Butler and Sproul that are side by side here.
Yeah, that bunched up everyone behind the top 5 up for a little bit. So we got side by side through the bus stop here.
Yeah, really awkward. Everyone trying to find room to race after a big scare up through the S's. And we'll take you back a little bit later to look at that incident, but Yusuf Ghali trying to hold off Alek Martinez. Martinez charging hard right now from that second spot, and Jeff Wright putting some pressure on. Oh, big crash in the back. Horrible accident. The 19 smashed into the fence, and the 24 is done. That's Bailey Turner destroyed. And just like that.
Sproul looking like he could have won the race.
Oh, that was a nasty accident in the back as well. Let's go back and take a look at that. Bailey Turner completely torn up in this. 19.
Yeah, actually, he blinked.
Yeah.
At least on my screen, he blinked in the middle of that.
I couldn't find where he actually was. We're on board with Bailey Turner. Turner just spun out, and they just got together completely independently, but nasty hit for the 24. He's going to have to probably retire that race car. For the lead, though, Martinez taking a look at Ghali down into the bus stop and putting pressure on the leader.
Okay, we'll see if he makes a move down into here.
And Jeff Wright looking like he's got a little bit more pace. Maybe not quite as much as these front two.
I'm curious if he's gonna be a little bit more cautious, especially because I feel like he's not confident with the amount of fuel he's got left in his car. And same thing also for the 12 too. So I'm curious if Wright's gonna try to hang back as much as he can, save as much as he can to make sure that he's good.
Yeah, and the 18.
I'm a little bit skeptical about their fuel levels.
Yeah, the 18 is really the best of this front group. He's about 4 or 5 laps better to the good on fuel than these other drivers he's around. And Yusuf Ghali short shifting immediately at the exit of turn 1.
Yeah.
But definitely some fuel concerns for these front runners.
Although Martinez struggling up in behind the 12 too. The S's typically see what this high downforce setup.
In the bus stop again. The bus stop is such an important part of this racetrack. It's really where the fast people make speed. But Martinez to the inside into the carousel, side by side for the lead. And Ghali's just going to have to give it to him. So the youngster from California up to the lead at a road course. He's been hard on himself. He puts a lot of effort in to get better at these road tracks. Spent days practicing for Sonoma just to have a mediocre round there. But tonight, he's going to come on through turn number 7, and he'll lead his first lap here at Watkins Glen this season.
And here's how much he's going to be able to drive away. Whoa, not like that he is. He's going to go sideways off of the last turn.
Yeah, a lot of patience involved in running quick laps here. And down into turn 1, Martinez, Ghali, and Wright, your top 3. Also behind, Adam Cabot and Zach Halpern putting pressure on each other, as well as Elliot Butler and Joshua Banks. I don't think Ghali's quite done with this lead yet, though.
I would be surprised if he is. I mean, I would imagine that he's the fastest car on the track after the time he put him track and qualifying even earlier in this race. So I can't imagine him letting the 18 by, but again, he's got to have enough fuel to finish the race too, so I don't know how on earth he's going to balance that out, but we'll have to see here.
173 miles an hour at the end of the back straight, carrying a whole lot of speed. Nice and tidy up against the curbs on the right-hand side through the carousel, throttling back up. And he's got a great run on the 18, but turn 6 isn't really a great place to pass, so I imagine he'll sit on it here.
If I was him, I would just sitting behind the 18. If anything, use a little bit of draft to try to help you save some fuel. I mean, anything at this point.
Nice tidy line through turn 7 for both the front runners. Great battle for the lead here. 18 laps to go. The front two, Martinez and Ghali and Camrys, and then it's a couple Chevrolets. And when I say a couple, I mean a whole lot of Chevrolets, all the way back to 9th place Zach Halpern in another Camry.
And Halpern's not really been a fantastic night so far. We'll see. He's still got a chance to move up the order quite a bit. He's got Butler, Banks, Stravato, and Cockrell immediately ahead of him.
And Clifton Cockrell also having a really good night in the 16. We mentioned his start in 12th earlier, and he's begun to continue his climb. I told you he'd be solidly inside the top 10, maybe even top 5. He runs 5th right now. Brandon Bowers, kind of the story of his season. Great start, one small mistake, and he just hasn't been able to get the finishes he deserves. Still running 11th, which is where he was after his spin early. Jeremy Miller in the 30. He's back in pit lane here, finishing some big damage on this car, and he's been in here for about a lap. Let's quickly go back and see what happened. I think he just came to pit lane, but there was some more damage, I think. Probably at the top of the S's. Oh yeah, here's a look. Rest of the hill and got light and Armco impact like we've seen so many times tonight.
Yeah, I just knocked the steering out. I think he decided to call it a night.
Whoa, Alek Martinez bit sideways down into turn 1, pushing the issue. I'm going to be interested to see next time by we'll ride on board the right front. Let's just see if he's pushing that car as hard as he was before. Because I think one thing you got to learn about road course racing is the slower you go, the faster you go. You push the car a little bit less hard, you have more equipment to use. And I think Martinez might be figuring out, don't push quite so hard and you'll pick up a little bit of speed.
Honestly, if I was using Golly right now for him, I think what he should do is try to be pressuring this 18 into making a mistake. We saw him make it earlier when he was fighting with Caluso.
Good battle from Cockrell, Banks, Butler, Cabot, and more all lined up nose to tail at the exit of the carousel. Back to the front. See Martinez continuing to lead half a second out in front of Yusuf Ghali. I don't think anyone's really a favorite yet. Down the front straightaway, I do want to ride on board the right front. The brakes were glowing red hot in this car earlier tonight. I wonder if anything's changed or if it's just a different lap for the 18. Down into turn 1. Still hot, but they were not nearly as quickly heating up as they were in the early part of the race, so he's definitely slowed his roll just a little bit. Oh, Joshua Banks and Clifton Cockrell door to door through turn 1. Cockrell's going to lose a spot here.
Here comes Elliot Butler, going to squeeze his way on through before the S's. He'll lose 2 spots in pretty much 1 corner.
And he might lose a third here. Cabot and even Bowers are looking pretty hungry here as well.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of traffic in down into the bus stop. Cabot going to have a look down into the bus stop, deep on the brakes for him.
And big jump over the right curbs, and he'll tuck in line behind the 77. Now Bowers sizing up the 16 as well. Tim Downey Jr. also 11th place. And considering the 18's port...
Oh, Yusuf Ghali went sliding through turn 6.
There's a look. Oh, yeah, just caught the grass on corner entry. Good save for the 12, though. That's a pretty wild slide. Yeah, just caught... You got to be careful about that grass on corner entry. It'll snap you around really quickly. So you have all the racetrack, but I would use all of it minus a couple inches just to give yourself that little bit of safety margin. 15 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. And Alek Martinez has led the last 5 laps here. Yusuf Ghali, who earlier in the race led 15 laps, has dropped to 2nd place. Elliot Butler and Adam Cabot, they're resuming their fight from earlier as they head towards the bus stop.
Cabot's got a bit of a run here. I think a little bit too far back to make a move this time by, but yeah, this battle's going to pick up pretty much where I left off.
Oh, Butler in really hot into the bus stop. He's going to give up a lot of speed on exit here. And Cabot's going to see that door open. He's going to go for it.
Yeah, Butler giving him the space. Cabot trying to get the drive up, though. They're still going to be side by side.
Better shift for the 6, though. He's going to pull more even with the 77 into turn 6, and Cabot's going to drive off in deep. I don't think Butler could run side by side through there without getting into trouble. Cabot's a little bit wide on exit, so is Butler, though. Neither of them a great exit, but they'll tuck back in line how they were. Oh, Butler got in the fence out of turn 7, pushing pretty hard.
And here comes Bowers, going to drive on immediately on through before turn 1. He's going to get another spot.
And Clifton Cockrell taking a look to the inside of the 6, not quite close enough to make a move. Whoa! The 6 closes way up on Bowers at corner exit. And a bit of a stack up here as they head to turn 2.
Yeah, whoa, boy. Butler got out of line. He's squirrely through the S's.
And Tim Downey Jr. watching from 11th, trying to figure out where he wants to go.
Yeah, really what we saw there with Butler is how on such a nice edge these cars are up to the S's. Pretty much a one-lane corner.
But you know what it does is with how slippery it is, it allows drivers to kind of get a little bit experimental with it. It allows them to make mistakes as well, and that opens up the passing opportunity into the bus stop, which we've seen a lot of drivers take advantage of. In the past, it's been so easy to drive up through the S's that it kind of makes the bus stop just more of a tedious corner than anything. It's not really a passing zone, but with so much sliding going on through the S's, you can better set up the bus stop as a pass. Tell you what, though, Finian, youngster out front's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, well, the guy behind him is doing a little bit better. Ran a tenth faster. He ran, I think, 4/10 faster last lap through. So Usagali's not giving up. He's actually closing in on Martinez just a little bit every lap.
Top of the hill for the 18 as he crests it. I want to see what the top speed is for the 18. How much is he taking advantage of the straightaway? 173 for Gali, 172, but a much earlier braking zone for the 12, and he's backing up the corners, and that's how you make speed around here, Finney. You don't charge the corners. You have to kind of slow in, fast out. It's a general road course thing that a lot of road drivers know, is that if you overcharge the corner, you're going to be killing your exit speed, and Gali's been backing up the corners, braking earlier than everybody else, but carrying more speed on corner exit. That's what's making him so quick. Now, I know he's not leading the race, but as you mentioned, he is closing in a little bit at a time.
Whoa, he's not going to do it like that. He's going to be off in turn 6.
Yep, and he's going to lose a little bit more time doing that. Now, I should mention that there's a risk to doing the slow in, fast out, is that it requires you to carry a lot more corner speed to be quick, and I think the 12 just carried a bit too much. So Martinez continues to drive away. No mistakes for the 18 up front so far, and he drifts down into turn 1, pushing the issue a little bit. These guys are bound and determined to make me look like an idiot tonight, I think.
Yeah, well, for Gali, that was a really good save. The choice he saved his car after almost putting into the wall, trying to catch up to this 18.
Now, Jeff Wright, we mentioned his, I guess we could call him struggles early in the race. Now, he's definitely sped up his pace, but this is not the domination that we would have expected to see, or at least what the drivers expected to see tonight. So, the 48 is going to have to do a little bit better than this with only 12 laps to go. Ninth place, Butler, Cockrell, and Downey Jr. all together. Butler really struggling right now. You can see him, watch him drive this car so hard on exit, and he's just slipping and sliding everywhere trying to get power to the ground and maybe heated up those rear tires a bit too much.
Yeah, I've noticed this pretty much every time I've seen him around the track. Out of some of these corners, he's almost drifting out of every single corner. And I can imagine how his tire is doing. It's probably not too well.
Whoa, big slide again. And it's been a struggle for the 6 tonight on corner exit.
I would hate to be the tires on his car.
Oh, big slide into turn 1. Oh, nice catch. Let's ride on board with him heading down into turn 1 and watch this. Wow, that was almost full opposite lock there trying to catch that. One more look. Just got in a little bit hot and big correction back to the left. Oh, he's big time loose into the bus stop as well. He's just completely decimating that corner, and he's all out of control, and Cockrell's just going to drive around him on the outside.
Yeah, he's not a happy camper in that car right now.
No, he's definitely struggling. Up in front of them, Brandon Bowers and Adam Cabot, they're side by side. This is for 7th, and Bowers, a good rebound after his early spin in turn 1.
Yeah, fighting for 7th place. Cabot still trying not to give it up, going to be on the inside in turn 6. But Bowers has got the better line in turn 7.
Yeah, driver's right, although Cabot's going to drive in really hard here. Probably won't get the runoff. Oh, Bowers is loose, and he's going to try to throttle up, but Cabot hangs on for now. 10 laps to go for leader Alek Martinez, but for now the battle is for 7th. Bowers in behind Cabot. T. Bowers driving a little bit cautiously into turn 1, trying not to repeat his earlier mistake.
See here if we can try to build up a run through the S's. You've got Cabot coming out of the bus stop. He's thinking of a lot of time through the S's.
It's such an important place to be fast. And I don't think he'll be close enough to make you move, but it's really the bus stop. I was mentioning earlier that the bus stop is a great place to carry speed. Slow in, fast out. Both of them a little bit hot. Oh, Bowers kind of botched that second half of that. We'll lose some time on exit. tucked against the curb on the inside of the carousel. You see, okay, what I was trying to mention earlier before someone went off track is the carousel's got about 3 different lines you can run. You can kind of run right against the curb on the inside. You can kind of run the rim around the outside if you're trying to get around traffic, or you can kind of do what I'd call the Marcus Ambrose line, which is you basically take a late apex. You drive in real high and exit the corner low. That's really challenging to do. You see Bowers get all sorts of sideways in turn 7. But for drivers that can manage it, and with a car that'll take it, it's a really good way to make speed heading down towards turn 6.
Yeah, that's my favorite line, the third one.
If you stay tucked up against the curb on the inside and do it the old-fashioned way, you'll find that it's a really good place to gain passes if people mess up the exit of the bus stop, because they'll jump that curb and end up way to driver's left, and that means that door opens up. It's a good place to sneak on in. 9 laps to go, and Golly still quicker than the 18 of Martinez, but unable to really gain a whole lot. AJ Stravato and Joshua Banks 5th and 6th right now.
Yeah, the thing is, if he kept that pace that he was going up earlier without making those 2 errors that we saw him do, I think he pretty much would have been right all over the back of Martinez, but now he's 1.7 seconds back, and still has to make up that time, and he's running out of laps.
He's off track again in turn 6. And after leading 15 laps, he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to catch this 18 before the game ends tonight. And down into turn 1 again. How hard is he pushing his brakes? You see his are glowing as well, so I think he's putting more effort in now, but seems to be struggling a little bit to keep up with that 18. There is a tire difference we have to mention here as well. Now, granted, a lot of this was under caution, Finney, but I think every little bit matters.
Oh yeah, I mean, there was, I think, 1 or 2 under green, so Martinez slightly fresher tires. Yeah, not a whole lot, but still every difference, I think, really between these two, especially, counts.
Into the bus stop. 18 getting by Bailey Turner, who has stayed out on the racetrack, even with all the damage that he's received from that earlier collision. Jeff Wright and Bryce Calusa closing in a little bit. And how about Bryce's night in the 82? This has been a really solid race for him. Started in 6th up to 4th, and he's pretty much stayed here most of the night. Unable to really get a whole lot more traction than this, but a solid top 5 is all he really needs right now.
Yeah, and imagine that Wright's going to put up a fight for Calusa, not really because he wants to fight Calusa, but he's trying to get every single point that he can, because Alek Martinez is going to finish ahead of him, and currently Martinez and Wright in the points separated by 10 points. So it's only going to expand after tonight, so he's going to try to be minimizing the deficit here, but he's got to keep the 82 behind him.
I think if you had told me early in the season that it would be the 48 and 18 going for the championship, I would have believed you. I really think the 18 is now battling the 25 and 26 for the championship, though. I'm not sure if the 48 is consistent enough at the ovals to really be a threat as we head towards the end of the season. So I'd watch out for Tim Downey Jr. and Zach Halpern, who are sitting 11th and 12th tonight. Again, they're going to top 5, top 10 you to death. They're not going to be up there necessarily winning races left and right, but they are going to have consistency. And so far tonight, even with Tim Downey Jr.'s troubles, he's still riding in 11th.
Yeah, I'm actually curious here why Halpern is actually in behind Tim Downey Jr. Something happened that we didn't catch.
Ran a 1:13.7 last time, which isn't particularly fast, but not particularly slow either.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is that he's had a little bit of a slip up, and 3 cars, including Downey Jr., went past, and he's never been able to recover from that.
Jeff Wright's got Calusa closing in from behind. I don't think our podium is quite sorted out yet. A little wide on turn 6. That's going to bring Calusa up to the outside. That's a bold place to try to make a pass.
Yeah, he's going for it at this point.
Down the front straightaway, 6 laps to go.
Yeah, Bailey Turner letting them by on the front straightaway, so these two can continue their battle. And I'm curious what Calusa's going to do if he tries to make something in the bus stop. Whoa, Wright sends it into turn 1.
Yeah, he drove in really hard. And again, that didn't used to punish you. In the old car, or the old tire at least, you'd overdrive turn 1 and you pushed wide. But you don't do that anymore. If you drive in too hard, you get the rear end light and you spin out. We saw Bowers do it. We saw Elliot Butler almost do it. And Jeff Wright almost suffered a similar fate there.
Back up to the front. Golly is really going fast right now. Ran almost an 11 flat last lap by to Martinez's 11.3, so he's really turning up the heat.
Yeah, trying to find some more time. He's got 1.2 seconds to make up. Pretty tall task, Finney, but I don't think he's incapable of it. He's only going to have 5 laps left, though. It's about 6 minutes worth of racing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to ask me, if any driver were able to make up the deficit, it would be the 12. He's going sideways through turn 6. He's really pushing the boundaries.
Throttling back up. Less than a second, now 5 laps to go here from Watkins Glen.
Oh boy. 11.2 for Martinez last time by, 10.8 for Gali.
It's all about the S's and the bus stop. Really, the first half of the racetrack is so instrumental in making speed. And Martinez has got to run for his life. And I think Alek is easy to crack under pressure, Finian. So I think Yusuf knows that. And he might start diving into braking zones a little bit deeper. Just make Alek look up in the mirror and distract him from the task at hand. Through the bus stop. Much better line for the 12 than the 18. This is the best battle on the racetrack at the moment. Oh, sideways! So sideways through the bus stop, or through the carousel, rather. He had the thing all sorts of sideways trying to hang on. Here's a look from up above.
Yeah. Tire's starting to give out now.
Oh, man, he was wheeling that car, and he lost only about a tenth through that whole process, so there's still hope for him.
He is still sideways. Came sideways out of turn 6, and both of them sideways out of turn 7.
4 laps to go. Gap didn't really close a whole lot. That's last time a 1:11.11 for Martinez, a 1:11.4 for the 12 of Gali. Down into turn 1. Oh, Gali understeered big time through there. I'm just not sure that he's got enough pace right now, Finney. He's pushing too hard and not getting a whole lot of time with it.
Yeah, I think the worst part is yet to come. Once he gets to the back of the 18, it's a whole different story. I think he's going to be out of tire left to pass, because the passing here really hard to do.
I wouldn't even be super concerned about that, because I think that it'll be easy to scare the driver in front of you. I think if you can get there, you'll force him to make a mistake. I just don't know if he'll be able to get there. That's all. I mean, we're running out of time now. About 3 laps to go when they get back to the start-finish line, and Martinez has made mistakes, but not as many as Yusuf in the last couple laps. 1.1 seconds between these front two. Of course, the 18 sponsored by Grid Life, which their Touring Cup series, their wheel-to-wheel racing series that started last year, will head to Circuit of the Americas February 15th and 16th for their first round of the 2020 season. If you're interested about learning about Grid Life Touring Cup, you can visit our website at simtvbroadcasting.com/GLTC to learn more. Some lap traffic up ahead. It's the 70 of Matt White. I don't think it's going to give either of these two drivers a whole lot of trouble, considering that trio has kind of been working together. But
if anything, I'm curious if Matt White will try to hold up Yusuf Gali. Or sorry, Martinez. Or Yusuf Gali.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but Yusuf gained a bunch into the bus stop there, a little bit slow. That's Jeremy Miller on corner exit. That held up Martinez just enough. Meanwhile, for third place, Bryce Calusa putting all the pressure on Jeff Wright.
Yeah, Wright again doing everything in his power to keep the 82 in behind.
And behind them, Joshua Banks and Adam Cabot. Whoa, they're all out of control. Cabot's off the track.
Whoa, yeah, this thing's got hectic on entry for these guys.
Yeah, here's a look. How about this? Into the bus stop entry, it was the 77 alongside the 36. And they just tagged, they get together, and that was a mess. They both kept it straight. Uh-oh. Our leader, Alek Martinez, has gone back to second place. A huge mistake for the front runner with 2 laps to go.
Oh, no. And we were talking about him not making many mistakes and out of the final corner.
Yeah, here's a look. Here's a replay. Down into turn number 7. Just missed the corner entirely and just lost all that. And then big slide on exit and locked up the brakes to keep rolling. But he's down a second. And basically the lead is swapped positions now with a lap and a half left to go.
And he's got a damaged car to deal with and hot tires. This is not looking good for the 18. I think he pretty much just lost that race right then and there.
We thought it was going to be one way. It's now the other. Yusuf Gali taking the lead back with 2 laps left.
Yeah, coming this time to the white flag, as well as he's got to keep the 18 behind. He's got the faster car too.
Martinez is closing just a little bit, 0.8 of a second. Can he get the focus level left to go get that 12 car? Out of the final corner, 7 turns left for Yusuf Gali. White flag in the air here at Watkins Glen. He missed the chase by a couple points compared to the driver that sat on top of the seating. Yusuf Ghali proving his worth if he can just get around the turns one more time. 7 left, now 6 for the 12.
Yeah, 2 races ago at Richmond, finished second at Talladega, and looking to get a win here if he can make it another half lap. Martinez, though, still closing.
It's going to take a Herculean effort by the 18 to catch the 12 now. Ghali starting on pole tonight. Lost the lead on the second run. A charge into the bus stop for the final time. Martinez trying to close. He closes in. He's only 2 car lengths back now as they come to the carousel.
Bravo. That's all I got to say.
Throttling back up. Patience, patience, patience. Get the throttle back to the floor. A bobble for the 18. In the grass on the exit of the corner.
I think he just lost all momentum he could to really make a move down here. Here we go, turn 6.
2 corners left. Ghali into turn 6. It's been a trouble spot for him all night tonight, but perfect for the 12 that time. The 18 sliding out of control. Final corner. The 18 closes side by side to the 18 of the fence. Coming to the checkers. Ghali's going to get it as the 18 slides to the checkers, but he'll finish second.
Yeah, and right behind them for third. They're going to be side by side, but it looks like it's going to be Jeff Wright at the line for third. Bryce moves it back and forth.
By a nose, the 48 finishes third. Wow. Not done yet. How about 12th and 13th? Halpern and Hronis. Bit of a bobble for the 29.
And they come to the final corner. Can Hronis get a run on Halpern?
Whoa, there he goes!
And
he's going to get the pit road attenuator and slide down pit lane, and he's going to have to back up because Sprou's coming. This is going to be horrible for the 29. He's stuck in the pit lane entrance and really nowhere for him to go other than back out onto the racetrack, and he'll finish 14th. How about that last lap battle, though? Nothing was certain until the checkered flag waved.
Yeah, I think Ghali should be happy that Martinez, besides the wreck itself on the last lap, that Martinez clipped the grass out of the carousel. He lost quite a bit of a run. We saw the charge that Martinez made in the final quarter. That would have been, he would have definitely hit Ghali if it was a lot closer.
Well, Ghali didn't make the chase. It was the first half of the season, really didn't go very well for him, but switched over to Toyota, and since then, Finian, his stats have been nothing short of incredible, and he's going to do the right thing, head down to turn 1, and this is where you do burnouts at Watkins Glen. Ghali, victorious at WGI. Celebrations due for the 12. Here's a look at your race results after a crazy last couple moments. The gap 1.2 seconds, but it looked a whole lot closer than that coming to the checkers. 4 lead changes, 40 laps complete. Finian, tonight, a spectacular race.
Yeah, spectacular race between Yusuf Ghali and Alek Martinez. It was a thrilling race to watch. I don't think the gap expanded at all over 3 seconds there. You kept it really tight all race long, chasing down one another.
Yeah, spectacular event. We're going to go back and take a quick look at the final couple corners and watch from Alek Martinez's perspective as he tries to close the gap. So let's go back and do that. Before we jump to break, I just want to get an idea of what Alek Martinez was seeing out the front windshield of this race car. So let's ride on board here as they came to the checkers. I want to go back to the bus stop because he closed in big time through there. Here's a look. So he closed up. I think Ghali's been so conservative through here that Martinez just flat out just cut the bus stop on entry. But just closes so much in the carousel as well. And I think Ghali was just driving uber conservatively, and Martinez was just willing to lay it out on the line here. It still looks like, heading towards turn 6, it looks like there's no way he could get there. But then another conservative braking zone for the 12. Martinez really pushing it. Big slide on the exit of 6. Into turn 7 to a little bit more throttle, and that was just never going to make the corner at that speed.
Yeah, he was just throwing a Hail Mary.
A for effort, though. All right, we're going to jump to break real quickly. Right back with your race winner and others. Stay with us. Welcome back live to Sim TV and the Outsider Racing League Chase race number 2 from Watkins Glen International. Here with our 4th place finisher, Bryce Galusa. Bryce, tonight you started in 6th. It was a top 5 run for you all night long. You were 86 thousandths of a second shy of ending up in 3rd. A good battle there with Jeff Wright. Walk us through your night in the chase of those front 3.
Well, in practice, I was having a tough time getting a good time down. There's a lot of fast guys in the front there, but my plan from the get-go was simply just to keep it clean and make sure I didn't go off like we saw a couple of guys in the beginning there, which allowed me to gain a couple spots. From there, I was just about being consistent, and I had a nice battle with Jeff there at the end. I just had nothing for him. He's a fast dude.
Challenging conditions tonight for sure. I heard a lot of drivers talking about the S's. Was that the only tricky part, or were there other places like turn 1 or turn 6 that might have been a challenge as well?
Turn 1 can be a challenge for me if I don't hit it correctly. Sometimes I get a lot of wheel hop and I get a little loose. As far as the rest of the track goes, I believe the S's I only had an issue with. I could really never put the power fully down. It was just way too erratic.
Bryce, hey, a solid top 5 for tonight, 6th to 4th. You got to be pretty happy with that finish. We head to Kentucky next week, so good luck out there. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
All right. Move on now to our 3rd place finisher, Jeff Wright. Jeff, 2 road course races earlier this year. You won both of them. You come to Watkins Glen. The first stage, I thought there was something wrong, but in stage 2, you kind of got things figured out, but only 3rd best tonight. What'd you need to go get those front 2?
Yeah, definitely wasn't near as fast as Yusuf Ghali or Alek there. Qualified 9th wasn't really what I was hoping for. This setup and just the way this car drives on the Glen now at the initial start, it's really slick. So I wanted to play things safe, especially after the way Talladega unfolded last week. So I figured I'd ride around the stage, play it safe, make sure I had a car at the end. And then once we got to the second stage, I figured, then it was kind of time to go. Let's try to get some points, try to get a top 5, and able to do so. It was close on fuel. That was the only downside of pitting early before the stage, but we had about a lap of fuel left in the tank. So I'm happy to get a top 3, and definitely should help us rebound a little bit in the points, especially after what happened last week.
All right, we'll head to Kentucky next week. Jeff, good luck in the chase. A solid run to kind of make up a little bit of for last week. So good luck at Kentucky. We'll see you later.
All right, thanks, Kyle.
Absolutely. Moving on now to our 2nd place finisher. A for effort for Alek Martinez tonight, the California kid. Alek, a bit of a mistake there in the closing laps. You gave it everything you had to try to catch Yusuf back, but a little bit short tonight. You disappointed or still pretty happy with a solid run and beating that 48?
I'm pretty happy that, just to finish, I did choke, typical Chase Elliott move, but, it is what it is. I'm just worried about seeing how the points are looking. I'm happy with the effort I was, but Yusuf was just too dang fast. There's no way. I appreciate him, I think he let me by. He's trying to save fuel or something. I really do appreciate it. It was just about holding him off. Probably burnt my stuff up trying to get away from him. But, it is what it is. Just worried about the points right now. I want to see where I'm, because I know we're going to Kentucky next week. So, well, it is what it is. Yusuf definitely deserves it. So, good win to him. And we'll go on to Kentucky next week and try to go get there and secure ourselves some more cushion to the points.
All right, the chase race continues for the 18. Alek, congrats. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely. All right, last but certainly not least, the driver of the night, Yusuf Ghali, in the number 12. Tonight was not as easy as perhaps we all thought it was going to be for Yusuf. Yusuf tonight started on pole, ran up front for most of the first stage, and stage 2, the 18, drove out in front of you, was running away, but you caught him, passed him, and held him off. Walk us through those closing moments and wheeling that 12 to the win.
Yeah, Alek had gotten by me early in that second stage because I pit before the stage because I was trying to get track position, and I couldn't make it on. So I'm sitting there saving a bunch, and he goes by me, and I was trying to push to get to him later in the race, but he was faster than me there. So I kind of just sat there the last 7 or 6 laps and waited for him to make a mistake, and thankfully he did, and I got by him there. I finished the race with half a gallon, so that was a fun race, all in all, I think.
Looking back at the first half of the season and looking at the second half of the season, the change in statistics has been remarkable. I think we mentioned earlier that your only finish outside the top 5 was at Pocono a few weeks ago. Since then, 3 victories as well. So do you look back at the season as maybe a season that should have gone better? You should be in the chase, or are you just happy just to be racking up wins in the last half of this one?
I think I could have made the chase. I'd made my own mistakes. Other stuff had happened. But, I mean, chase or not, I'm glad to be winning races.
All right, Yusuf Ghali adds a 3rd one to this season. Congratulations, Yusuf. We'll talk to you later. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Finney, and that will do it for the interviews tonight. Taking a look one more time at our race results here at Watkins Glen. This has been probably one of the best stock car races I think we've seen here. I would venture to say even better than the first ever race that this group had with us back when it was VRL back in the old days. That was the first race we ever did for them. I think this race was even more exciting.
Yeah, it really was exciting to watch. We thought we knew who was going to end up winning this race towards the end. We thought it was going to go to Martinez, but fortunately made a mistake and pretty much shifted the tides. And we saw Yusuf Ghali able to take advantage of that and able to take the win home. And really curious in seeing now what these next few races bring, especially I think next week we're going to Kentucky. And we'll see how. I think really the championship or the 4 guys we're going to be looking at for the championship is probably going to be at this point Jeff Wright, Alek Martinez, Tim Downey Jr., and Zach Halpern.
Yeah, again, the chase will continue next week from Kentucky Motor Speedway. Again, Watkins Glen, a homecoming for the SimTV guys. So make sure that you join us next Saturday at 10 p.m. I think, is that the next race we got? I think we're off again for another whole week, are we?
Yeah.
I think that's right. So again, we got nothing going on. Also, before everyone takes off for the night, make sure that you check out our website, www.simtvbroadcasting.com. There's some new stuff up there. We'll also have a merch store going to be opening up, and this time it will be forever. It's not going to be one of those 2 weeks it's open, then we close it like we did last time. It's going to be open for good. We're going to have flat brim hats. We're going to have t-shirts. We're going to have quarter zips. We're going to have all sorts of stuff, 6-inch decal. Also, in the next couple days, you're going to see a video that will be explaining our new YouTube memberships program, which, of course, you'll be able to hit the blue join button. It'll allow you to support us at 3 different levels, 99 cents, $1.99, and $4.99 a month, which will get you merch discounts, exclusive content, both grid life and iRacing related content, and more. So make sure you keep your eye out for that video as well. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you next week from Kentucky.